Spring is in the air at Global Voice Broadcasting. Fresh new shows are hitting the airwaves every day. Shows about all the things that matter to you in your life. Music, fashion, celebs, and more. It's all here, and it's getting better every day. Only at Global Voice Broadcasting.
I highly recommend Ms. Hicks. Her books, her CDs are encouraging.
I bought her book, A Hill to Climb. She's a very inspirational speaker.
And I look forward to one day being able to work with her.
Your power lies within you. Let it loose.
Aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, determination. These are the keys of life success brought to you by none other than award-winning author, motivational lecturer, business consultant, and much more as she gets you aimed to your purpose. And now, ladies and gentlemen, young and elder, from Hollywood to the entire world, here is your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Louise Hicks, along with her co-host, yours truly, Kennon Wesley Mason.
Hello, world. Welcome to Aim to Purpose, a radio show. Once again, thank you all for joining us, our global audience. I'm Louise Hicks, your host.
And I am your co-host, Kennon Wesley Mason. I want to welcome all of you from all around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening as we are going to bring you another solid edition of Aim to Purpose, the radio show.
And guess what, world? We have Miss Shamika Brown back. And we have a great show for you today, too. We're going to give you, of course, sports therapy with Robert Snell and all the good stuff that's been happening in the community, the entertainment world. And we have a great guest in the audience with us today in the studio. And we're going to talk to you about Latinas expanding academic and career paradigms with Miss Pilar Pinel.
That's right.
Pinel.
That's right. She's going to be a dynamic guest. But first, she's back. The one, the only, Miss Shamika Brown. Yes.
I'm back. Did y'all miss me? Hey, friends out there. Listen, I do have your entertainment and community news for today. This is March 9th, and let's get into some box office numbers. Chappie with 13.3 million. That's the new robot movie. Mm-hmm. Looks a little like Terminator meets Big Hero 6. I'm not quite sure. And then number 2, Focus, 10.20 million.
Focus is still doing good.
Yeah, Will Smith and Margot Robbie holding it down. The second best exotic Marigold Hotel. That one flew under the radar for me, but it looks like a really cool film for people of a certain age.
Right.
And then The Kingsman's been kind of rotating back in at 8.3 million. SpongeBob is hanging in at the number 5 spot with 7 million, and 50 Shades of Grey. I love that movie, huh? International numbers are ridiculous, but I can tell you that 5.6 million for this weekend is giving them a cum of somewhere in about the $150 million range.
Wow.
So
love is in the air.
Yes, it is.
Or lust is in the air.
Exactly.
And Shamika, I like to tell you, I like your hat today.
Thank you,
Stylish
darling.
and classic.
Thank you, honey. You know, I try to get it together when I can. So listen, let's move over to some TV. Are you guys loving Empire? Because She Show is, oh my God, this has become my guilty pleasure, you guys.
I think it's all of America's guilty pleasure at this point.
And I would say so because according to the numbers that came in, 14.33 million viewers last Wednesday.
I believe that.
Yeah, pretty decent. And you know,
I believe that.
Twitter, social media is going crazy. I mean, it is an event. So, of course, this is starring Taraji P. Henson, Terrence Howard, Jussie Smollett, Malik Yoba, and the list goes on and on of guest stars. I'm hearing that Jennifer Hudson, Mary J. Blige, and Gladys Knight are scheduled to appear out throughout the season, so we can look forward to that. And you guys remember last year I mentioned that that network TV was going to kind of see a surge of diversity in prime time, and so
can't get any more diverse than that.
Hello, I mean, So shout out to the folks over at Fox for opening up them doors, y'all.
And that's a good thing because
Yes.
we all have talents to bring to the table
That's
for
right.
entertainment.
And there's so many stories, but I think that this is just an amazing show, and I wish them much
Before
success.
you go, who's directing Empire? That's not Shonda Rhimes, is it?
No, so
No.
this is Lee Daniels, the
Okay.
butler, Precious.
He's the
Okay.
Yes,
creator, and I
yes.
believe John Singleton
Creator.
directed a couple of episodes.
Yeah, so
as
they've
well.
got
Okay,
they've
the
got people.
creator.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Yeah, he's the showrunner, but the direction is kind of switching up. They have different people coming in
Right.
to direct certain episodes.
Right.
So you're absolutely
That's
right
right.
about that, kid. I'm just excited about that show, so I wanted to share. So let's see. Oh, upcoming releases for this weekend. Looks like Disney is going to have a pretty good weekend with Frozen Fever and Cinderella. Releasing the same weekend, so
Wow.
y'all want to go check that out? It's definitely a weekend for family to go.
Yeah.
and
Cinderella comes to life.
And Frozen is just already a phenomenon, so I can't wait to see what happens this weekend for those numbers to come in. So check that out. And let's see. Oh, some sad news. We were just reporting today from The Hollywood Reporter that news of The Simpsons co-creator Sam Simon has passed away. And this is the long-running Fox series, The Simpsons. I mean, I can honestly say I grew up on this show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, so many generations, and I know Sam will be missed. You have people such as Matt Groening and James Brooks, with whom along with Simon, developed the show. They said, "We will miss Sam's phenomenal talents, sharp intelligence, and sly sense of humor. He is gone from our industry too soon. He was truly one of the great ones. He found so much outside the work to give him pleasure and left so much behind for others." And I can certainly attest to that because, again, just grew up on The Simpsons. Since he was diagnosed with terminal colon cancer, Simon was giving away his vast fortune, largely spending it on animal rights and feeding the hungry. He is a philanthropist and also sits on the board for PETA. Or sat on the board, for PETA, and continues to, I guess a lot of his supporters are continuing to give to the cause in his memory.
Right.
The Virginia headquarters was also named after him, so rest in paradise, Sam Simon.
There you go.
Okay. The last thing for community news that I wanted to discuss is this past weekend with Obama in Selma giving that speech. I don't know if you guys were able to catch it, but yeah, the 50th anniversary of the March on Selma.
Yeah, there was a big march with tens of thousands of people that
Yeah.
marched on the bridge that Dr. King marched on during the peak
Right.
of the civil rights movement.
And of course, the film Selma was kind of
missed
adapted
it.
into
I
the.
didn't
Yes, this is
see
called
that.
Bloody Sunday. So this was all over the news, and people like Representative John Lewis out of Georgia. He was actually one of the civil rights icons that marched and participated in the march.
Right.
So he gave an address along with President Obama, and he said that. Coming in today, that this is the daring of America's character. He did speak about Americans must continue to embrace the message of the civil rights movement. And he also stated that 50 years from Bloody Sunday, our march is not yet finished, but we are getting closer, he said. So about 100 members of Congress, as well as former President George Bush and First Lady Laura Bush, stood under the sun at the bridge as Obama delivered the remarks. Crowd estimates were at about 40,000.
Oh, yeah. And I did see the clip of it.
Yeah.
And, well, actually, I know about it because I was a teenager at the time,
Yeah.
but 50 years ago. And I just had a birthday last Wednesday, turned 64.
Birthday to you.
Well, all right.
So, thank you. So, I know about the era,
Yeah.
and I witnessed that because I remember seeing it on the news because our parents used to talk to us about those things during that movement, and I saw all of these things that happened. It wasn't a pretty picture. It was horrifying. Even though I was a teenager, it was horrifying.
I do think that the film Selma actually depicted and really gave people insight into what it was like to go through that. But I do think
Yeah.
it was just great for Obama, First Lady Michelle to come out, and obviously the former president and First Lady. So yeah, that's kind of what was happening in the community. nationwide community.
Well, all right.
And that's my report. So,
Well, there you go.
Well, just before we move on to sports therapy, I want to give everybody a little taste of my weekend, because that's probably why I didn't get a chance to watch some of the Obama speech and so forth. I went to such an exciting, what a day I had yesterday in Beverly Hills. I went to the event for the family. It was a free event put on by none other than Antonio Giannini, who is the founder of the Family Films Award, as well as a recipient of the, I want to make sure I say this right, of the Olympia Award, right. UN Olympia Award. And it was put on by this group, Lisa DeFana, the Global Wealth Solutions Group of Raymond James. And they brought out the kids and their families at the theater, and it was awesome. They had In-N-Out Burger there to hand out the food to us, and it was just an awesome event. And Gooding, who is a well-known band, came in and did an awesome concert. And not only that, part of their segment that they featured was about teaching the kids about money and the pitfalls of money. It was really a great event, and I was so happy that I was able to attend, and thanks to Antonio Giannini for inviting me out. And I hope they read the book too that Lisa was part of, along with the signing of the book with the illustrated artists there, as well as, I want to give you their names too quickly, if I can find it again. Can't find it right now, but the artists were there to sign the book. It was an awesome book about treasures in the vault. I'm hoping I'm saying the right name of it, but I got the book for my granddaughter too, and had them to sign it. The illustrator and the authors were there, and I'm hoping to have them on the show as well, because it's an awesome book that talks to kids about money at an early age, and that's what we need. And the kids there, they were so attentive on the stage as the entertainers read information to them, and as Gooding came up and gave them information about how to be successful with their money and not fall into the pitfalls. Great family event that was
Financial
free.
literacy is important. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
The earlier, the better,
The
if you
earlier
ask
the
me.
better. Yes.
So that's all. That's it for community
Yes,
news. Is that
that's
all we
right.
have?
Yes.
So now we turn it over to. It's Robert Snell with Sports Therapy.
Yeah.
Take it away, Robert.
Thank you, Kennon. All right. And last week, we mentioned issues in the world of sports regarding both ends of the spectrum of either franchises and individual players who are giving either, great effort, or those who are doing everything in their power to lose games. So, kind of both ends. The Denver Nuggets decided that Brian Shaw's lack of effort he was getting from his team was unacceptable. And on Tuesday, actually the day we went on the air to discuss this issue, he was fired by the team on Tuesday. And then on the opposite end of that, we had players who were, being questioned for like maniacal effort, or doing everything to win, such as James Harden, who kicked LeBron James in the groin area. And the NBA did decide to hand out a 1-game suspension on Tuesday for his actions. And then we also had Russell Westbrook, who, despite having a broken jaw and face, lacerations, is playing. And as of last Monday, he had recorded his third straight triple-double. And we were, wondering whether players had achieved that feat. And I actually went back and looked it up. And in the last 20 years, LeBron James, Jason Kidd, and Grant Hill had all accomplished that feat. So I just wanted to clarify that and give them their credit where credit's due.
Okay.
And lastly, I did mention a kind of fun story that the Philadelphia Phillies in a spring training game lost to a Division II college baseball level team for the first time in MLB history. And since then, ESPN.com has been reporting that they are back on the trade market shopping their top ace and biggest commodity, Cole Hamels. So just wanted to set the record straight on all those.
Oh, boy. Sports.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
I love it. But moving forward, on a more positive note, last Friday night was the inaugural LA Fight Club.
Yes.
Which is something Oscar De La Hoya of Golden Boy Promotions, the world-famous boxer, is putting on. And he was actually inspired by the movie Fight Club itself, the famous film with Brad Pitt in it, where, random
remember that
people.
film.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone does. It's a classic.
Yes.
And, the synopsis of that film was pretty much people with a need for escape in a way to like let out all their like emotions, that like society doesn't frown upon,
right,
per se. They needed to go out and they just went to these fight clubs and just bloodied each other up. So
Yeah,
De La
they
Hoya
did.
is looking to recreate that atmosphere in a more controlled environment. There are referees. These are official boxing matches. They have
Right.
gloves and everything.
Yes.
But he is looking to create that atmosphere of just an all-out warrior, like, bloody, like...
He's bringing boxing
The
back.
underground fight.
He's bringing a different element, or bringing back a certain element
Exactly,
to boxing.
yeah.
Bringing LA fighters together. And his star protege looks like is one Joseph Jojo Diaz Jr. He had a fight this past Friday in downtown Los Angeles. It was a third round, kind of a
TKO.
fourth round TKO, a solid body shot.
It was. But, the funny thing is, if you watch the fight, Joseph Jojo Diaz, he's not a very, like, intimidating guy. He's not one of those people where when he steps in the ring, you hold your breath and just, pray for the other guy.
Yeah.
Until he starts fighting. And then you realize what all the hype is about. And
Yes.
this guy...
Is he good?
Oh, he is more than worthy
I
of
missed this,
being
though.
a De La Hoya protege.
Yes.
His record going to the fight was 14-0. He had 10 of those coming via knockout. And after the fight, he improved to 15-0 by defeating Juan Luis Hernandez,
Yes.
as Ken mentioned. It was a third TKO, and it was kind of semi-controversial.
Yes.
For those of you who watched the fight, the first round, they kind of felt each other out. Second round, Jojo started finding his groove, really started landing some decent body shots. And the third round, he got a few knockdowns on Hernandez.
Yes, he did.
With some solid punches to the rib cage area.
Yes.
And then, so the third round's coming to a close. The 10-second warning bell, I guess, signs, which signals the referee, to get ready to stop the round. And he actually preemptively kind of stopped it before the whistle had blown.
Yeah, it was kind of, I guess it was a situation where the referee had to make a decision on whether to let the fight go on into the fourth round,
Right.
or to stop it because of this devastating kind of a punch to the rib cage, into the body area.
Yeah, but the punch came right the split
Right
second
at the bell.
before. Yeah, the bell rang, and obviously the referee does not have the luxury of replay and being able to take it back. So
That's right.
he had to make a split seconds call right in there, and he determined it was a hit that occurred after the bell. But luckily, fortunately for Diaz, he ruled that as an accidental hit. So then the rule is that Hernandez then had 5 minutes to try to recover, and prove coherent that he could go on. In order to continue the fight, and he was not. So therefore, it was awarded as a technical knockout.
That's right, technical knockout.
Yeah.
And here's JoJo. This cheesy smile here. Don't let that fool you, because once he gets into the ring, it's all business.
Well, how old
for
is he?
So JoJo shook up L.A. I think he's what, about
he's
22?
20. Yeah, he's 20 if I'm not mistaken.
I was like, whose child
Well,
is that?
He's 21. He's 21.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
One of his nicknames they use for him during the fight, I don't know if it's one he endorses or not, but they call him the babyface assassin.
That's
to give you
right.
an idea of who he is.
That's
he
right.
looks so young. I would not have even
He
pegged him
does.
for
He
21.
looks like about 14 or 15.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And he
That's
shook
right.
L.A. I tell you, I saw
Oh,
that fight.
yeah.
He,
You know-
he was just amazing.
One thing I can say about De La Hoya is he's just expanding this brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Golden
Yes.
Boy, and it's so nice to see him giving back in this way.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
hats
Yes.
off to him.
Absolutely. And here's a totally different side of JoJo Diaz as he drops a left cross.
Now he looks 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, way to
That's,
boss up.
that's a warrior look right
Yes,
there.
honey.
That is a warrior look.
Serve and swerve.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, him coming into the fight, going into his corner, you look at him and he doesn't strike you as a guy who's gonna, rip your head
Oh,
off.
of course.
But then, once that bell rings, it's game over. you
Yeah,
know?
that's right.
Yeah.
JoJo is he's a super bantamweight at 122 pounds, and I believe that actually I know that his story is quite fascinating, and hopefully we can get him on the show at some point.
Yeah, that'd be
We
great.
will.
Awesome.
We'll get him on the show.
You know.
All right,
Definitely. We're going to work on that.
Yes.
Because you never judge a book by its cover, remember?
That's
Oh,
right.
clearly.
And
no.
is that your wrap up for giving us all this therapy, sports therapy?
That'll do it.
That'll do
That'll
it.
do it.
I
And
wonder,
right.
was that punch therapeutic, though? that looked a
punch,
little...
That was a blow. I
Yes.
mean, I
frustrated.
saw it, and it was really a blow.
That's
This
right.
kid has what it takes to
Oh,
be
my.
to go even much further.
That's
15
right.
and soul too.
That's right.
And with that said,
He lets it loose.
Oh yeah,
Because his power lies within him.
Lies within him, and he's letting it
So
loose.
he's letting it loose.
He does,
Definitely,
yeah.
letting it loose.
Yeah, you got that.
And I just
Funny.
want to correct myself on something with the book that I was talking about that's for kids about the money, because I want these kids to know about money, and I want the parents to start from infancy. The book is entitled Treasures in the Winter Vault, and it's by Debbie Bertram, Bertram, and Lisa DeTana, and illustrated by Kevin Green. And I hope to have them on the show. As I mentioned, I got the book autographed. They were there at the event yesterday. It was awesome. And thanks again to Antonio and the group for bringing them.
Miss Louise,
to
you be
us.
all over the city, huh?
I'm working on it.
She's
Right.
everywhere.
I'm working
Hello.
on it.
She's everywhere.
I'm working on it.
This
And,
is socialite.
and my next step, hopefully, I'm going to be going to South Africa. I've been invited there, and who knows where next? UK.
Aim to
And
Purpose
we were
is
also
global.
invited to
Global,
Brazil
yes.
by one of our guests on the show. So we're going to get to go a lot of places. But with that said, we need to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back with Pilar Pinel,
Yes.
our special guest today. And we're going to talk about Latinas expanding academic and career paradigms. So we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hang tight.
Hey folks, it's Ken here. If you or someone you know around the world has a small business, organization, or foundation you'd like to share with the Aim to Purpose audience, showcase it here on our segment of the show called Small Business Monday. The opportunities for people around the world to browse, buy, and use your products and services are endless. We pre-screen all businesses, organizations, and foundations for legitimacy, but because this is a free community service brought to our audience, it's at no cost to you as well. You heard it right. It's absolutely free, and you don't have to pay 1 penny. How do you like that? You just come on down to the studio and tell the story of your business, organization, or foundation and give it the praises and accolades you know it deserves. If you're in another part of the state or country, or if you're in another part of the world, you can easily call in or Skype in and do the same. So what are you waiting for? Contact the show's publicist, Shamika Brown, at www.divinebrownmedia.com. She can also be contacted at 1-818-533-8463. Or contact Louise Hicks at www.louisehicks.biz. She can also be contacted at 1-562-310-1495. Allow yourself to be seen by the global masses and allow your business to shine and grow because of the global masses. It's Small Business Monday, courtesy of Aim to Purpose, the radio show.
We're back with our special guest, and we have a great show for you today. Before we get to talk to our special guest, we're going to introduce her. We're going to do a brief bio and let you know who she is.
Yes. Pilar Pinel's extensive knowledge and understanding of local, state, and federal government operations, public affairs, administrative policy, and advocacy personifies her professional posture, leadership, and commitment to her peers and the persons she serves. A visionary, passionate about education and youth, civic participation, and the arts is evident in her extensive involvement in community, youth, nonprofit organizations, education, and civic participation. Pilar demonstrates her sincere effort to encourage and improve the lives of all citizens in the communities she works in and lives. In 2003, after 20 years of combined professional service in collaboration with the Long Beach Community College District, Santa Ana Community College District, and Santiago Canyon College in the areas of amnesty citizenship, high school outreach, articulation data, and a business owner, she hit the height of her career with an obligation to leave behind her only income to embrace the 21st century with her spirited entrance into the nonprofit world with an agenda to address the educational and socioeconomic influences holding Hispanic/Latinos from matriculating into higher education and graduation from high school in healthier numbers. She's the founder and president of Embracing Latina Leadership Alliances, a nonprofit 501c3 nonpartisan mentorship and leadership corporation in the city of Long Beach and Los Angeles, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the educational, professional, and political advancement of high school youth. Ella's, as it's named, founding has been and continues to be well received at various levels: corporate America, state, city, and local agencies, private sectors, educational institutions, profit and nonprofit sectors. Pilar tirelessly dedicated 7 days a week, up to 12 hours a day without financial compensation, to involve and provide high school Latinas with after school and weekend workshops supportive of educational growth, career exposure, and community involvement. So let's welcome to Aim to Purpose, the radio show, in studio, Miss Pilar Pinel.
Welcome, Pilar. We are so happy to have you. What an illustrious career you have had. It's impeccable.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the comments, and I know that was a long-winded bio there,
It's
but
okay.
You know what? I've got a lot of years that I've lived out already in this blessed life that I've had, and the second blessing is actually meeting you, Louise. I truly believe that God has an alignment for all of us in this world, and we are connecting with the people we're supposed to connect with. So with that, again, thank you for having me today.
Absolutely.
And we are so happy to have you because we have a great conversation, and we're going to be chatting with you on some great things that you're doing. And we could have gone on and on with your bio. However, we had to stop because, believe me, she's done a lot more than what we read here. This lady is dynamic and amazing, and I'm so happy to have embraced her company because we're going to let you know about these bold moves that this lady makes. I mean, she makes them bold.
Yeah.
When she quit her, what did you do? You quit your job?
I quit my job. I was at the legislative department serving as a field deputy. But, you know, I think everything in life leads you to a point where either you're going to sink or you're going to swim. And in my passion, I was at that crossroads. Either I would embrace what I'm most passionate about and leave behind my comfort zone, or I would lose it. That opportunity would not present itself perhaps again. So yes, I just packed it all up and took an early retirement. And it is because it's about 20 years of accumulative research, being involved with national and state organizations that map out the statistical happenings that are driving our nation. And so I took a personal investment as a Latina, born and raised in this country. My father was a migrant to this country. I worked with large migrant populations, so I could see the needs, pockets of needs in these populations that I said, if I wait for funding to be available, not that it's not an important issue, higher education,
Right.
It just wasn't a priority at the time because I went after C average, barely C average, and above students that get left out of the margin of giving. And for me, these are the people and the individuals that will go on to community college and do absolutely phenomenal. They will be very successful. They have that entrepreneurial spirit. They will have very successful business, and they will maybe rejoin the educational pipeline later in life and be very successful. But the monies were going more to the more severe at risk, those dropping out or had dropped out, teen moms. And so I said, no, we're that middle bar of population. And I look at it like that. If you look at our economy, it's the middle class population that keeps us going.
Runs everything. It's the
absolutely.
engine. It's
Yes,
the heart.
It does. Yes, it
Absolutely.
does.
And so that's exactly
and we
what
want
this
you to
is.
slip your headphone on there if you don't mind
Okay.
quickly. That way you can hear us a little bit better too. There we go.
It's all right. Either way, you're good.
Yeah, you're
Thank you.
good. We
Thank
just
you.
like to make sure you can hear us real good too.
Thank you.
But go ahead. Did you have any? You had your first question you wanted to ask?
When what you said is so true, because what we are looking at here, you saw the need for the education of these young girls. And I know your program is inclusive of other ethnicities as well. However, you chose to focus on Latino young girls in, is it high school or middle school or both?
It's actually both. It's a grade 7 all the way through high school. And then from high school, we adopted another 4 years. And this was by the request of the young women who had gone through the program, that they still wanted to remain engaged with the AS program throughout their university life. So it goes all the way through. They're with me a good 9 years of their young life. Yeah.
And we need that, because we know with you starting a program like this is so vital, because when we look at the educational system here in America, we find so many flaws, because they really aren't giving the kids what they need when they get out of school, even the college level education. I mean, with me going through college and coming out, basically I had the theory, but I did not have what it took for me to go out in the workforce, and a lot of it, even in the workforce, I had to do it on my own. And with programs like this, what you're doing, you are adding to a necessity that a lot of this should be given in high school, but we know it's not. A lot of kids come out of high school and they don't even know what a FICO score is. They don't even know how to set up a budget to run a household. And a lot of these kids are getting married right out of high school, and they don't have a clue. And then we wonder why it's such a breakdown in the communities with poverty levels and the young people, because they're not getting it. And a lot of it has to do with their parents not understanding as well. So tell us how you are helping to hone these skills of these kids in the educational arena, and why did you choose to focus so much on education?
Okay, because education is at the core of what will make an individual complete. It's also at the core of what will help our country move forward and become competitive. Not only become, because we are competitive, but we're losing that ground, and we need to reinforce that competitive spirit. If we don't, we're looking to outside sources. So what better than to derive it from home base here in America, that we have such a large and a growing population. In this case, I'm speaking Latinos have become, it's no secret, they're becoming the largest growing population in our nation.
Yes.
And with that, there's good fortune and there's some not good fortune. The good fortune is they're a young and thriving population. They're a money-spending population, if you will. But they're not completing education in the numbers and in the timelines that are respective to that growth. And what I mean by that is that most youth, Latinos are very grounded to family.
Yes.
And they're going to do what they can to help the family move forward first. So if we look at the larger population of a migrant population, mother and fathers, and I've been involved with this through Amnesty, in all of the data collecting that we did, in asking what they wanted most. What was their dream when they came to this country? Because many came under circumstances, whether passport or not, that I think no individual in their right mind would do because of the dangers in between. But they thirst to come to the country for better opportunities. And why was that? And their answers were just almost identical. It was to give greater opportunity for their children to have a full education. Because in their country, their education, for the most part, this is not the whole migrant population, but for the most part, there was a 3rd to a 5th grade level of education. Yet they all aspired for their children to go on to college and university, but they didn't know how it was going to happen. So that lack of information, lack of connection is one of the key sectors. The other is that of the Latino population we're hearing today enrolling in our community colleges and universities is growing, but the retention rate is not as strong as it needs to be.
Right.
So there are factors in between, and I believe this is a part in culture, that they need role models. There's a deficiency in role models in their environments. There's a deficiency of resources that speak to not only them, but their parents. We talked earlier about financial literacy.
Yes,
we
that's
aspire
so
to that.
important.
But they have no idea where you're going to get the money from. We can't get a loan. They themselves don't have credit base. So where are these students going to fulfill their dream of education? So that's what AS is doing at the core, because we cannot ignore the growing numbers. They are here.
No,
they're
we
growing.
cannot ignore it. And the thing is, Pilar, too, the other reason we cannot ignore, because we are all in this country together.
Absolutely.
And what we have to recognize, if one ethnic group is not functioning properly, they're in poverty, they're struggling, that affects everybody.
Absolutely.
And that's where we have to start realizing we're all connected, we're all in this together. And if we don't start thinking that way, as you say, we got to do that paradigm shift.
Absolutely.
If we don't, into a level of consciousness to realize that we're all connected.
Absolutely.
And if we don't, we're going to perish together, because that few that it's kind of like the have and have nots. I don't know whether you've seen this Tyler Perry sitcom or soap opera or whatever, but it's the have and have nots. All of us have problems in our lives. I don't care how wealthy you are, no matter what you have, you're going to have the same kind of issues we have. You might not have the money issue, but you're going to have some type of issues in your life.
Correct.
And when those issues come to the forefront, who do you call?
Yeah.
I mean, we need to call upon each other to bring, all of us need to get financial literacy.
Right.
And what you're doing is so vital and important. And that's why I was talking about yesterday when I went to this group, and there were a lot of minorities at this event, ethnicities, and we need to be there, because the same thing is happening in the Black community as well. And we need to get back to the family structure, and we are, because family used to be so important when I was a kid growing up in the Black community.
Yes.
And we have to get back to that. And I understand what you're talking about, because it's so important. And you mentioned role models. How does your program help the children, these youths, in terms of creating role models? Do you have role models from the community that you bring in? How do you do that? What are you doing to make sure they have positive? I shouldn't say just role models, because just to have a role model is not the key to it.
Right.
We need to have positive role models.
Or positive influences.
Right.
Absolutely.
Which can come from anywhere.
Absolutely. The way AS addresses this, and when I started the program, we would visit the high schools and bring speakers there. But it grew so large into multiple schools that I now host it as an annual conference. And it's all about exposure. It's about elevation, because I refer to it as virtual travel. If we have never traveled outside of our immediate environment, and most of these girls are living within a 2-mile radius, that's their life. School, home, maybe the mall. But beyond that, we have girls in Long Beach who have never even visited the beach, because it's not within their radius of 2 miles.
That's right.
So with that thought, take it further. I said, how are we going to inspire anyone to dream or set a goal or say, in my future, this is what I aspire to, if they've never seen it, right? So I do it through the annual conference. It's held at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles, because I want it elevated. And when someone says to me, why do you spend the money to take the girls there? When I hear young girls, when they're sitting at the table for the luncheon, because it is a luncheon, and they're like, oh my God, I've never been served like this before. It's a wow moment.
Right.
Then I know myself that we've started the wheels rolling, because now they feel special, they feel attended to, and that's what it takes. If you're not feeling that someone is giving you attention.
And that's all they've ever wanted.
Right. Some attention.
Usually that's all they've ever wanted. Some attention, someone to tell them that they can do it, someone to tell them that or that they will do it, and you have access to get it now. Being with your organization. It's access. Information is power, and the world is bigger than Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
Many people, like you said, they've never been to outside of their neighborhoods.
Yes.
All they know is their neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And so now they have an opportunity to expand their mind and go be able to do things like going to the beach or going outside of California or visiting another country. It's about expansion. Your organization is about having the mind expand and know that there's something greater out there.
Absolutely, with the direct focus on career and education. And so this conference is around all of that philosophy, that they will arrive, they go to career workshops. A lot of them are in areas they never thought of, engineering, the sciences, in things in teaching. So they're like, I've never knew that existed. Even under law enforcement, it expands the opportunities within that umbrella, right? So if they've never seen it, they've never heard from it, then they're not even including it.
That's right.
So that's what it does. And when they're done with 3 sessions of career workshops, they come into a very nicely served lunch, and they're going to hear from 10 select women that AS has selected throughout the year, from government to education to health units, the whole gamut of careers. And they will hear from each one of these 10 women on how they reached their success. Because AS has a mantra. It's a journey from good to greatness. I believe, and my board believes, as do these girls, we all have good, and I know you'll chime in with me on that.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That we all individuals, whether male or female, we all have good within us. How
Yes,
do we
we
reach
do.
to that good to create greatness?
Stepping over the threshold.
And we need to get there. And it's so ironic that you would say that, it's particularly with women, because we know that this has been a male-dominated society. And with that said, it makes it more difficult. We don't even, we do the work, as they say, we got the brains and practicality, but we don't get the pay for what we do often. And I was just reading something yesterday on Facebook about the women in Ireland a few years ago. They decided to just not do anything and show the country where they are coming from and how much they are needed. And that's how they got equal rights over there in Iceland. Was it Iceland? Iceland, yeah, Iceland, not Ireland. I said it wrong. Iceland. And they took control. And in masses, that means a lot, because masses can speak in numbers. Your voice can be heard. And that's so important that we go and do like the people in Iceland. They even overthrew the government there because there was so much corruption. And I like what you said about the journey from good to greatness, because that is so important to empower. I have this saying, your power lies within you, let it loose. That is so important to empower these young girls, to let them know. And you have 7th graders, you said?
Yes.
They are about, 12 years old or so? And it's so important when you get them at that age that we help the parents too, because I'm starting with, her parents, my one and only grandbaby, starting from infancy with her. And that's how we were taught as kids. You raise up a child from infancy the way they the way they should go, and maybe even they might stray, but that's going to stick with them. Whatever you have taught them, it'll stick, and one day hopefully they will come back, because it does happen. And we have a clip too that we want to share with our global audience about what your foundation is all about, embracing Latina leadership allowances. Ellis, is that how you pronounce it?
AS.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So let's show that clip. We're going to show part of it. We're not going to show the entire clip.
My name is Pilar Pinel, and I am the founder and president of Embracing Latina Leadership Alliances, AS. AS' mission statement is that AS is committed to facilitating mentorship and leadership opportunities to benefit Latina high school students interested in pursuing higher education.
My parents, they always imposed on me that education was the most important thing, and that we needed to go to college, and it's always been in my mind. It's never been a question as if I'm going to college, but where I'm going to college.
I'll be the first one to go to college. So when AS comes to us, to Latinas, and you hear about it, you actually go there, you see all women, it's all girls. So you think to yourself, if they did it, then I can do it.
They are, through AS annual conference, engaging in leadership development programs. The young girls will leave AS with a motivated sense of responsibility towards their educational, cultural, and political awareness. They get to go to work or conferences, rather, or luncheons that other professionals put on, and we take them in groups of 10 or groups of 20, and it's there that they have an opportunity to see other professionals. and to sit down and ask questions and exchange information. A lot of our successful Latinas in our state and our nation have come from a migrant family that came here. They're second generation, some of them are first generation. We have an exemplary model of this success, former 40.
And what you shared with us is so vital, because we need those role models, those influences from others, and seeing other speakers and they come in and they share with us, that really helps to motivate the girls too, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. AS has a success rate with her girls that come through the program. 94% do go into a four-year university. The girls you've seen here in this video have graduated. 3% are going on to master programs immediately.
Wow.
Where before they took time out, went out and put themselves in the workforce. But I have one that just got hired on with Univision Television 34.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it is having an impact.
Yes. One of the girls, Bianca Hernandez, she said it's not a question of when she's going to go to college. It's a question of where.
Yes.
Which means in her mind, like she said, she is going to go to college. There is no question.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that part was part of this clip, because Bianca, I've seen her sister, her younger sister, who is a senior at Cal State Long Beach this year, but their mother was a great example. But she went back late in her years to finish her degree. All of her daughters have gone on. And that's just something that resonates. It doesn't, when I say we reach out to C average, barely C and above, it's because it doesn't necessarily mean those resources are there for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and that is so great. Now, how you also work on with financial development? Do you bring financial people in to have workshops with them on finances?
Yes.
And how many? How long is the program?
We run it throughout the year. We're once a month we're on a high school campus, and we will have a weekly workshop. 1 week it's financial literacy with our partner Wells Fargo Bank, who provides hands-on banking to become open up teen accounts that turn into college accounts. So we walk them through every step of the way of how to prepare themselves to go on to college, have their own bank account, because they're going to be handling themselves
That's right.
at college and university level.
That's right.
So we're teaching them that growth through those high school years. And then the parents join in on a workshop so they know exactly what their daughters are receiving in information, and they will receive information for themselves so they're prepared. Because there's nothing worse than your child has done his or her part, and they're studying and they get accepted, but you're shortchanged financially.
Oh, yeah.
And then that money is, where's it coming from? So,
And
yes.
that is so awesome that you said the parents are allowed, because you need that partnership with the parents in order to make the program successful, especially since these are young teens. Now, you talk about STEM field careers.
Correct.
What does that mean?
These are careers that we didn't take an account of acknowledging what an individual's strengths are. There are girls that are really strong in math and the sciences, but they don't think of putting that to use. They are generally, and we did this through a study, mapped it out, a lot of the young girls are thinking about going into sociology, psychology. They want to become counselors. They want to become teachers, right? But we weren't seeing a large percentage, or a fair, I should say, percentage of their thought process going into the sciences, maybe working for aerospace, maybe working for, a lab research, maybe working for engineering firms.
Something
I have
bigger.
Three honorees of AS are Latina women who are engineers, civil engineers, but they're also pageantry winners. So it goes hand in hand. You can have both.
You can have both.
Absolutely.
And it's so true, because it's not a matter of what's in our brain. It's a matter of giving us the opportunity to utilize that brain.
Yeah.
That's what's so vital, and that's what you're doing with this program. You are giving young people an opportunity to utilize those skills. And we know we have a high population sometimes of teenage pregnancies and drug addictions and things. And your program, how do you help the kids to not get involved in these type of, that will bring about not necessarily stop them from going on, but it can slow down the progress with teenage pregnancies and with drug addictions and this type of thing. Do you talk about that in your workshops and programs?
We do. It's a well-rounded curricula-based program that includes all of the life skill issues that they will face at some point in their young lives and as they get older. But it also is talking about things that are real to them in their community. And we do see that the teen pregnancy among Latinas is still a strong factor. And at a young age. So what AYAS does is through our curriculum and through, it's a very competitive application process. I'm all about giving, but I'm strong on commitment.
Yes.
So you're not just letting anybody in.
Right. It's if you
gotta be committed.
Yeah.
Yes, the girls will sign up on a contract that they're going to be with us throughout their from grade 7 through their senior year, and I have a 3 strikes rule. If they are not within the line of the policy, they get a write-up, and by the 3rd time, they're then taken out of the program, whether that's they didn't attend a workshop that they are required to attend.
Right.
They were caught in some kind of activity that is inappropriate, and they aren't allowed back in the program. I tell them there's way too many people that could benefit from the program.
Yeah.
So if they're not serious about it, but I do give them a resource of other programs. And if we mentioned teen pregnancy. If that were the case, we all make mistakes at some point. Things are unexpected. But we wouldn't have those direct resources to help this young woman move forward.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
That's so important too. And I have this saying on the stays. I have 3 stays. You stay focused, you stay disciplined, and you stay away from excuses.
Yeah.
And that will help you go a long ways in life, because what you're teaching these girls, that is about life realities. And that's what we have to help the young people to understand. You're in the real world. This is real. And if you don't start thinking about it now at an early age, it can create more problems for you as you grow older.
Right.
So you need to start putting your life in the proper perspective early. And the fact that you have the parents involved in it, I think that is so vital, because it helps them also to help their children to stay focused and to stay disciplined and to stay away from excuses. And I know you talk about home ownership. You go into things like that because some of these kids are getting married, as we mentioned, right out of high school. So they need to have an understanding about home ownership. And
it's the one thing we don't learn in school is how to purchase a home.
We don't learn all these things in school, and you teach them about that. You teach them about single parenthood, because we know we all do make mistakes, and they need to learn how to take care of their own children, because some of them are teenagers taking care of children.
Correct.
So what programs do you have to help them to learn about home ownership? We've talked a little bit about finances, and also the single parent, because we know that single parenting really does have a stigma. I was a single parent for a long time, and I think I raised some pretty good kids. And my mother was a single parent. I put myself through college. And so just being a single parent does not necessarily mean that you are a bad parent.
Right.
So how do you help the single parent to get away from this stigma and to stay away from that excuse, oh, you're a single parent? And I think that's something out of the environment that our environment tends to instill. It's not that we believe we are bad parents as single parents. Most of us, I don't think, believe that.
Right. Well, I will share with you, I also was a single parent through divorce. I realized, and I did marry at age 19, and this is part of why I decided to invest in AS. I am one of these girls. So many of our honorees are these girls.
And that's why it resonates.
Yes. I grew up in a loving family, 4 boys, 4 girls. But we were limited to what we would do and go on to college. It was about the culinary, is about secretarial. So when that didn't work for me, and I just felt I was missing something, I realized, well, marriage wasn't the right step that I made, and I divorced. And I have with me here today I tell him he's my blessing. He tells me a lot of times, Mom, I think you could have did it better without me. I tell him, never, ever. He's helped me develop AS. He's at every step of AS along the way. Anything that's needed, he gives of himself. He started a painting business, and he gives me $30,000 a year to help me do AS. So just any son would do that, right?
You're right about that.
So this is touching on something that, it's not something that should set us back. It's something that should move us forward.
Yes.
And that's why to me it's critical to give an environment that will inspire these girls to see something beyond what's happening just immediate.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, we have to wrap it up. We're running out of time. Why don't you give us information on how one could find AIS and the foundation, and a website if you have, and tell us where we can go for that.
Yes. Yeah, there's extensive information and history on AIA's website. It's www.aiascentury.org.
Okay. Repeat that one more time.
www.aiascentury.org.
And that's ELLAS.
Correct.
All right.
Because I mispronounced it.
That's okay.
I did too.
The
AIS.
the acronym AIAS is the same in Greek as it is in Spanish, as it is in
Okay.
French. A little slightly, a dialect change on it.
Yes.
But it's all about empowering women, and that's what this is about, because our country is beginning to see a large population growth among women, in particular Hispanic women.
Yes.
But I'm passionate about empowering all women.
That's right.
We are intricate part of the success of this nation.
Yes,
and
we
I
are.
attended a luncheon real briefly here this afternoon with.
I was going to ask you about that. So, share that
this
briefly.
is a luncheon that happens every year with the LA County supervisors. All board of supervisors nominates a woman. I was Supervisor Carnaby's honoree in 2012, but it's beautiful. It's a very diverse attraction of women. It brings them from all sectors of life. In fact, we were reminded today by one of the honorees who marched with Martin Luther King, and this is what this is all about. Every passage of our history has something we all need to do. We all need to step in and make change. You don't need to think
Yes.
about the dollar outcome. We need to think about the change that
That's
can
right.
come about.
That's right.
And so with these women, they do phenomenal work in the communities, from homelessness to drug abuse to sexual abuse to sex trafficking, education. And collectively, women, African American, Asian, Latino, Caucasian, they're all part of the same mission. As women, we're all one, we're all together. I'm just doing a small part to do what I can to attract as many Latina women to the forefront, because we need to join in on history. We need to be a
Yes,
part
you're
of
so
mapping
right.
the change and the strength that we need in this country to move forward.
That's right. And the small part that you are doing is creating the bigger picture of the whole.
Yes.
Yes, and
Thank
we
you.
need that, and that's what the paradigm shift is all about. It's about shifting our consciousness to become more aware globally, because actually we are all connected as human beings globally, not
Absolutely.
just here in our little space in America. It's a global, and as women, guess what? We're taking over the world,
Yeah.
and we're smarter than men have always given us the credit for.
We've
And
always
we
been
are
there.
showing it
Yeah.
by the things that we're doing now. We've always been there.
Yeah.
And we are actually showing it now, how women are in our own rights now. We are creators, we're visionaries, and we're going to continue, because we know where the power lies. It lies within us. And as women, we are bringing it.
Yes.
And I love how
Absolutely.
you have
Thank you.
brought it with AIS.
Thank you very much.
Did I say that right?
You did.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Got it.
Beautiful.
Do you have a final thought? Because we do have to go.
Yes, I do. The thought is that if today was not possible, it's always a step forward into the next direction we need to move. You're providing a beautiful opportunity to expand the voice of what women across all countries are doing, and I'm blessed to be here. I want to also close with, on AIAs and women, is that all of us need to stand up, reach out further. It's not a gimme world. You may receive, but you have a responsibility to give back. And
Yes.
that will take us so much further. But if we go back in history, World War II, they pulled women to the forefront. There was such a big need. Well, we're at that need again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at that need again.
Yes.
And we need to bring women to the forefront, because otherwise there will be a shortage. So seeing women scientists, engineers, doctors, lawyers, that is not
Yes.
something of another world. It's just that we came of age.
And we do have the brain capacity.
Absolutely.
And with that said, thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Pilar Pinel, for
Thank
coming
you.
to the show and bringing us and talking to us about the journey of greatness and Latinos expanding academic and career paradigms. And as the godfather of soul, James Brown, said, it's a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. And with that being said, we must get out. And as I always say, until next week, your power lies within you. Let it loose.
Until next week.